Hello, Gigaschatten here, bringing you yet another gameplay best of the best. And today we're going to have a look at the Pale Destroyer and his gameplay of one of my favorite races, which are the Cyborg. The Cyborg are quite unique in the gameplay and also in the lore in the series of Star Trek. And I personally love those two episodes where this Enterprise is first thrown by Q into the Delta Quadrant where they encountered the Borg. And the Borg are so unique not only in that series but also in this gameplay. So what Tim did at that time is to incorporate them here into this game, and you really have this kind of feeling. The thing is, with the Cyborg up front, they are one of the weakest and at the same time one of the strongest races. What do I mean by that? In most games, if you are not careful, then you might get destroyed very early on, right? So anyone who sees a cyborg as a neighbor normally directly jumps to him and either kills him or enslaves him. The reason for that is their power curve is very slow. So they are one of the weakest races early. However, late game, they shine tremendously. The reason for that is because they have a ship at their disposal, which is the Firecloud class cruiser. And this can open channel and move you from one end to the other. That's one part. And the other one is actually that they assimilate natives and turn them to colonists. The thing is, late game you don't have your original homeworld anymore, kind of to speak, but you have several homeworlds, right? And each planet, if you have like 300 defenses on a planet, not counting even for the star bases, which they can build on top, right? They can have the strongest base defenses of all races. Yeah. But since they can't build fighters on their own, like the rebels, the robots, and also the colonies of man, they need to buy the fighters. However, and that is really expensive. So every biocide, you see, the biocide is the Tech 10 cube, which is on par with almost a Gorby. I would say the biocide is the second strongest ship in the game. If you sink and destroy a biocide, you not only kill, all the minerals that went into the hull, and not only the minerals which went into the fighters, but for 100 fighters, a cyborg has to pay 10,000 mega credits. So every biocide you kill with that, you in your mind can already think, unless he's, allied with robots, rebels, and colonies, that you also killed 10,000 mega credits at once. Being said, that also indicates already they have one of the strongest economies late game, right? Again, you need your network, but later on, all their planets will have like 300 plus supplies every turn, which they will be producing, plus an average of 300 to 500 mega credits every single planet where there were natives. And then, this is the strengths and the weakness of the cyborg in general. So this in this video we're going to focus on the Pale Destroyer. He has also a lot of sunk ships, as you can see, and lots of achievements. So let's have a look at him and go to his history. Again, just searching for a cyborg game which has high DM and which he has won. And as you can see, there's not a very recent one, but we're just going to take this one, Deventor. It's a little bit older, doesn't matter, so let's directly jump into the game and have a look how he plays them. Okay, just click that away. Just directly jump to turn number 1. And let's have a look at the map. And the first thing you realize, this guy is writing himself kind of reminders, because this is not from me, this is from the person itself from the Pale Destroyer. And let's have a look what he has written. So first of all, this is his home world. And now, just for the sake of it, first get rid of the writings. Just have a look at the map. He has also marked some planets in colors. We will come to that. So definitely this and this one, these are his suspicion on where the enemy might have his home world. Okay, so this is where he thinks they are. Then he has marked this planet. Maybe he wants to approach it as well, because this is a cluster here. And if you just look at the map, his starting position isn't the best actually. He has just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets which are directly connected. Whereas here you have far more, 5, 10, 12. And here you have even more, right? So these people here have better starting positions in my opinion, because you can fly your ships longer without being seen, and at the same time, the more planets you explore, the more possibilities you have to find very good natives and or minerals at the same time. Okay, so let's have a look on what he has written to himself. Let's start with this one. Definitely second neighbor here, consider hype to, what is that, red or intel, stoke war between these two, or second of offer assistance. Then Firecloud to North Cluster 1B, FCC to West Cluster, probe to South, or LDSF if it good natives, uranium plus cash. So he wants to have uranium. The reason for the uranium is, by the way, his ships, we will come to that later, the both cubes, the biosat and the annihilation, cost immense amounts of mineral. Really, immense amounts. Yeah. And what you then later need to do from the assimilated planets, you will get a lot of supplies. You need to transport them via your Firecloud network and then convert them to minerals and then build the ships, right? So I can tell you already, if you are a person who doesn't want to invest a lot of time in a game, then the cyborg are not for you. Not only is their power curve in such a way that they get strong late, but the amount of planning, transporting, and moving minerals and mega credits through your network later, if you survive that long, takes a lot of time. Okay, good. Then here he says safe expansion should be over 300 light years away from visibility if I go direct. What he means by that is, if you draw a line here or a circle, 300 light years will kind of get to this edge, and if he flies this direction, he won't be spotted. Even if the enemy is getting this planet, he will probably reach something like that. I don't want to draw now on this map, and the same is here, so 300 light years will barely go to this direction, and you can, as usual, just have a look. Okay. Then he says, home cluster too small to support growth, need to get FCC to new cluster. This is exactly what I said just a couple of minutes before, is that his home cluster here doesn't have enough planets to sustain a growth and, you know, to harvest them long term. So he needs to get into this cluster. If he flies into this cluster, then he risks being seen at some point of time, right? But he also, you know, he says himself, I need to get here as well, but also he needs to expand into both clusters, but this is a risk. And here he also says it, this cluster is a risk, could contain a neighbor with the 431 distance. So you watch the tailspin video and suggest this is too close. Note the player above may also be early target this cluster. So he didn't not only check this, but said if there's someone here, he might also get into this area. All right. From now on, we will try to turn that off. So let's have a look at his planet. Thanks for doing that. He maxed factories and he maxed mines. Please do the same. And at the same time, he added one defense, so he gets one extra fighter. at a cost of 10 mega credits and a supplies. Approved. Totally approved. I love it. Also, he goes for maximum money here at the start, and then he's going to grow it. Fine. Don't care. Different ways of doing it. I personally would tell every cyborg to open with the Firecloud class cruiser with Mark IV torpedoes. Reason for that is you get an early ship, and the more it flies out, the more you have already a way to channel in your stuff from your home world or from wherever to the distance that Firecloud traveled. So let's have a look. Standard opening for each race normally is a large deep space freighter, but as I said with the Cyborg, I would always go for at least 2 Fireclouds and then an LDSF, and then depends. Another Firecloud if I can afford, LDSF, or even switch to probes. Yeah, and then get a second base fast and produce those cheap probes from there as well, and colonize those planets here on the edges, on the outer ones, and also in the middle, right? So that you kind of build up your backup planets, and because assimilation takes time, and the earlier you assimilate and explore those planets, the better. So we're going to see what he's going to do. Let's have a look. I'm pretty excited, and it's a Firecloud class cruiser. Perfect. 6-10-1-5, perfectly enough. And yeah, and once you build it, you will then, you know, he will either fly into this direction or in this one or this one. He will definitely not fly in this direction because you usually don't do that. That's your backyard, which is, you know, a little bit more safe than the middle planets because everyone is naturally going to fly towards the middle. Okay, I love that. So his first ship, he has loaded it with 130 clans, 70 supplies, and some mega credits. And yeah, and he's just going to fly this direction. Nice. Also scoreboard wise, let's have a look. The first 3 turns you don't see anyone, and we have some familiar faces. So Bilbo 1494, we made a video with him playing the Solar Federation. He loves the Federation, and yeah, he's a Fed player here again. And then anyone else I recognize? I don't think so. Okay. Time Machine, turn 2. Again, we're going to get rid of the writings here. That's fine because there's nothing new. What did he encounter? He encountered Reptilian Monarchy, which is great. And Monarchy, so he will get lots of money, and also 6.23 million cyborg colonists at some point of time. Good, you have like 6,500 molly. Really, really bad is the density. It's really shitty. Yes, kind of, it's a bit lucky because he got the reptilians, but even if you have 200 mines, you will only, you know, harvest 30 kilotons normally per turn molly, but with the reptilians you will at least get 60, but this is not really, really good. And also the neutronium, almost not usable. Okay, but what he is already doing is, which he had written also before, he wants a Merlin very fast at some stage of time. He's already, you know, beaming up uranium. So in every game when you start, always set your ships to beam up uranium. This Firecloud, let's have a look. 180 clans, 100 supplies, 400 mega credits. So this is normally to build fast mines, but it will deviate depending on what he finds. He has 10 torpedoes on the ship, which is good. Since it has 2 torpedo tubes, it can in theory fire 5 rounds, and this is a good armament. And also these are just, you know, 130 mega credits for the 10 torpedoes. Approve. Just setting waypoints, strangely, sorry, like this. This is, I think, to if someone sees his ship, it will look like as if this ship is flying into that direction the next turn. This might be it, But next turn he will then definitely fly into this cluster. Okay, so let's have a look. He set the taxes to 0 back again. And he's going for growth, which is interesting. I don't think I would do that, but I think that's flavor. So a second Firecloud is coming up. Exactly. All right. So Time Machine turn 3. Okay. And now he wrote a little bit more. What did he write? He said Starbase in a can and use this for the early Merlin. Why is that? Oh yeah, the reason is here. He found with his medium deep space fighter a planet with humanoids, number 1, so he gets the tech level 10 for free, and with that he can also build very cheap probes at the beginning. Number 2, he found himself the uranium planet with, look at that, over 8,000 uranium by 88% density. Awesome. So every turn he will get 176 uranium out of the planet with 200 mines. Awesome. Very good start. And he is going to fly his medium back. Also, let's see what he dropped. Yeah, last turn I think he dropped like 189 clans, and they, you know, started assimilating. And these numbers, in case you don't know how assimilation works, it is like this. Basically, the amount of colonists double every turn. So here, this is plus growth, which you have. So 260 clans. Next turn he will have 520, and then 1,000, and so on. And at the same time, the values of the reptilians will be decreased by the amount of assimilated colonists. Okay, so these people, if you drop 1 clan, it assimilates 1 clan. Next turn you have 2 colonists, and then you assimilate another 2, and then you get 4, and you get the point, right? And this is the famous question on what happens. This is 2 times to the power of, and then you see quite easily that in a very short number of turns you kind of assimilate the whole structure, the whole native sphere, and then you have like 6.4 million Borg colonists. Okay, so here he also dropped the rest, which are 11 clans, as I said. It were not 189, but he had like 130. And since he has 11 left, he dropped like 109 clans on that planet. And yeah, okay, good. And he's now flying his medium deep space fighter back. This Firecloud is heading to the next cluster, and this one is heading out. And look how he said it. He can either go and fly to this planet, barely reaching this warp well, or to this one. And see, marked it in red, he will most probably fly to this planet, but he isn't flying it in a direct line, so his ship is not ending up here. Reason for that is, if the ship gets scanned, if you see a ship exactly between these 2 planets in a line, you can then safely assume where he came from and where he's heading to, even if you don't show the waypoint. But this way, if he does it like this, it's not 100% clear. Does he come from one of these, or does he want to head to there and there? So he's trying to obscure some information here. Okay. Then he says, remember the minus 70% happiness if the homeworld falls. Yeah, I think this is one of the changes when a homeworld is defeated, that you get a minus 70% happiness in surrounding planets. I think there's something like that. And also look at this. This is quite funny. He says, remember stupid new Q, the RB command, which stands for regular build. He doesn't obviously like the new Q. Okay, good. That being said, let's have a look at turn number 4. Sorry. Time Machine, turn number 4. Okay, and from now on, as I said, because they are a bit distracting, let's get rid of these writings. and start off here. And I'm also going to X that one out. So we have a rock here. Again, not too bad. There's a little bit of uranium in here, 54%, but there are no natives. So as a Borg, even same thing, you want to find natives. Yeah, he didn't set any primary enemy, and he will most probably just drop one clan. No, he doesn't. What he instead does is he drops 11 clans, one supply, 3 mega credits. So you will get a factory, and then since a factory then will produce one supply every turn, every 4 turns you will have 4 supplies, which you can then use to build a second factory. And then again, the game starts again. And the 11 clans, there's also a reason for that. This is the number of minimum clans you need to grow so that the colonists grow by themselves. So if he drops it onto a 54-degree planet, you will have 12 next turn, then 13, 14, and so on. So they will grow over time, but extremely slowly. Okay, and as predicted, this Firecloud is flying to this planet here. And let's have a look. And here he has his MDSF, and he's going to send it down and then up, because he wants to develop those supplies fast, because he used the initial ones to get his defense up to 20. Now, why is he doing that and not doing like what other people do, upgrade his mines totally, and then in the second round send the factories? The reason for that is because the enemies with sensor sweep can scan your planets and then get readings. With the defense pulse of 20, he hides his planet from sensor sweep. Again, as a Borg, early on, you don't want to be seen. These 2 Fireclouds are most probably safe because he sent them out in such a way that he limits sensor visibility. I mean, at some point of time, when this ship flies to this direction, there's a neighbor here, they will meet each other. That's right. Yeah, but you want to hide yourself as long as possible. So he's just going to send some supplies, and you by now have seen it and recognized the pattern. Look at the fuel. He has like 10 fuel on this ship only, and he will reach this planet with 2 kilotons of fuel left and then fly back. I don't know why he's taking 173 actually and not 200, but there is a reason. Probably he calculated what he needs and so on, what next ship to build. We will see that in a second. And as predicted, he's going to build a second base fast because of the humanoid tech level, and then he will maybe not directly have enough money to build probes, but at some point of time he will then produce mass probes from this second base. So what is he taking? Enough mega credits, some supplies, and enough clans, and so on. And he has like 25 titanium here, which then will go up to 401. That should be then get the starbase up and running. Also the molly. I think he will miss some molly, but I think he will take it from this planet with the medium, I guess. What is here on the surface, and that's how he's going to do. I predict now a probe, or even another large deep space freighter, and it is a large deep space freighter. Okay, good. So far we haven't seen any kind of enemies. Scoreboard. The Empire of the Birds. Wow, he went for an early second starbase. Very nice. Cool. So, Time Machine, turn 5. And again, with I started this with the Klingons. I will have a recording of 1 hour max here, and then split it into 2. Again, let's get rid of the visuals. I wish you could just set them once and then get rid finally once and for all of them, but you can't, so it doesn't matter. So he found himself fuel. Tritanium 20% almost not usable. Again, just by looking at the figures, he probably dropped again 11 clans, 1-3, so that's his pattern. And again, no natives. Really, really bad. And he's just continuing his journey to finding more and more natives, and he will, you know, follow this path down, maybe like this, and then fly over. We will see. So a second base is being built. Oh yeah, he had some mines here, and yeah, it was just barely enough, and he's just going to fly back home. Okay. This one he's just sending out with 1000 clans, 200 supplies. And I think he's now quite broke, and he was at last turn, and therefore you will see another probe being now built. Not another, but a first probe, and he's building it with Quantum Drive 7 and X-rays. Okay. There's also the possibility that you provide these ships with plasma bolts instead, because the plasmas are a little bit stronger, and the probe can, you know, fight a little bit better, but a probe has only a mass of 30 kilotons, and not the best fighting ship, but for the Borg, having a hyperspace probe is very good. Number one, you can, as I said, hyperspace and then assimilate, but number two, you can also use that to get money off those far planets, like from these ones. You don't have a Firecloud here and then always fly around to collect the stuff and open channel. No, what you do is you fly a probe out or jump into hyperspace, collect the stuff, and then just jump back, right? Another mechanism at or a tool at the disposal of the cyborg to utilize. Okay, so he's now going to supply this second base here, which he planned ahead. That's why he had built a little bit of mines here up front, with the necessary minerals to get a second probe out. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a second probe being built here as well next turn. Okay, so far no other reading. And scoreboard wise, turn 5. We have the Rebel. Yes, Mr. Nexus. Awesome. You watch Joshua's videos. Very good play. So, and this guy is going to produce some Falcons from 2 bases. Right? Time Machine turn 6. First things first. Let's get rid of the writings. Again, did he find some natives? Oh, bad luck. Also, not very good, and densities are really not good, right? So the moly is good, but you only have 100 kilotons, and the tritanium not good. So, this time just 1 clan. Okay, and further flying out to find anything useful. Here, this ship has dropped its stuff again. When he can afford it, he shields the planet by building 20 defense posts. Very nice. You know, you also get like 3 plasmas, 9 fighter base, 4 fighters. 4 fighters, but yeah. And he's going to build nothing. Okay, interesting. I thought that he would at least get a probe. And he's trying to build a Merlin here, but you know, he can't afford it. But a probe, look at what a probe costs. Just that you see it. 35 mega credits, 13 duranium, 24 moly, 24 tritanium, 7 moly, 35 mega credits. That's it. And you can use this to colonize other planets. Okay, but he's not doing that. Fine. We are learning, right? And as you can see, he also stripped off the fuel. Also very interesting. So he's not maybe planning to build more probes from this base. We'll see. So maybe he's just focusing on the Merlin, I guess. Okay. So he's now taking 300 mega credits off his own planet. So he can only build a medium or another probe. It's another probe. And interestingly, now this is different. Normally what a large deep space fighter would do is fly around lots of colonists. He has done that with this ship. That's fine, because you know it's heading out. But this one now, you don't need to do that, because the colonists are naturally growing on these 2 native planets, and he's using it to transport supplies here. So he is kind of neglecting his homeworld a little bit, just saying, okay, I can barely build a ship. Look, this costs 204 mega credits. The minerals he needs are tiny, and he gets more than enough from his planet. Even the factories would be enough to supply building such probes, right? So he wants to use the supplies to get now more factories. And as you can see, he focused on the mineral mines first to get that precious uranium out. And the same is true pretty much at this planet. And as you can see, he's trying to harvest the uranium as fast as possible to get that Merlin up and running. Interesting, right? And he's also not using this hyperspace ship yet. Never directly jump from your homeworld if you can avoid it. Instead, he's going to fly over here and then maybe from here do a jump maybe to this planet, I guess, because everything else is barely outside the hyper range. Here he could jump to, but I think that's the reason why he marked this planet in blue. I'm pretty sure he's going to fly over here, load up colonists and supplies, and then jump to this planet. We will see if the prediction is true or not. Okay, what else did he find? Nothing, no natives. Sad and bad. Again, 11.4 just for minimum growth. So, I mean, I told you that they will grow last turn. So let's have a look here. And as you can see, I was right. And I missed this ship last turn here. We didn't cycle through the planets. He found himself nice reptilians. However, temperature is bad, so they will die off at certain point of time because the planet can only support 310 plants. And also the minerals are bad, but you know, you will have a planet where you will get a lot of taxing. And we're going to have a look now also at the taxing as well. Okay, so we were at this large deep space freighter here on his journey. Again, what did he find? Nothing, dropping probably only one clan, heading forward exactly and beaming up fuel now. Yeah. All right. So, and now is the time to cycle once through the planets. Again, nothing to say here. And here you can now see one thing. We have reached already 2,146 colonist clans. At the same time, the reptilians were growing because temperature is not too bad, but now it is being reduced in size. So it's not completely reduced by this number because they're still growing, right? Because it's above 70%. But look how he's taxing. He is taxing at maximum rate, which means because of the government type, you can just have a certain income. And if you go, you see, beyond that point, there is no increase in the mega credits, but just in the happiness. So he's squeezing out every little bit. And you will see that these reptilians will be taxed down to 40%. And then in the last turn, you can tax as much as you want because they will be gone. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why you are going to get a lot of money in a very short time frame. Okay. So again, here just standard taxing 1%. Yeah. And you know, so they grow a little bit, so on. And also this humanoid anarchy planet, same thing. This doesn't seem to be much, but if you'll see, if I increase, you can't get more. Always tax the maximum amount if you can. Okay, so let's cycle through and that's it. So, turn number 7. Also scoreboard. Okay, there is this second base. Colonies of man, also second base. So this game tends to have a little bit more like a second star base build, but even those which have a second base aren't producing from 2 bases. And again, this is because of this priority build thingy. They are accruing priority points, which you can use later once the 500 ship limit is hit, to build additional ships to go beyond the 500, and only if you have enough priority points you can do so. Okay, so time machine, turn 7. Okay, and also I think we forgot to check what he built. I think it was another probe, or yeah, I think so. Yeah, another probe here. So let's start again. Get rid of that and get first. Click here of these layers. So let's start with this Firecloud. And really, really unlucky. So you are also a Mr. Anti-Fexer guy. You remember that one guy who found only native planets, like one after the other with high governments, with, you know, over 6 million on each planet. I had never seen this. And this is more the usual stuff you will encounter. Okay, so again, just a rock, drop one clan, and he's now dropping 12 clans. Again, reason temperature is a little bit higher than usual, so they will not grow at 11 but at 12. You can see the formulas on VGA planets.org or something like that. There's a special video of mine where these temperature things are described on how many clans you need to see a minimum growth. Okay, I will supply that in the second part of the video, so no worries, stay tuned. You will get that information from here as well in the second part of this video. Okay, so he took now all the minerals from this planet, everything, right? And he's just flying it over to this planet. That's it. And as predicted, again, he had marked it in blue. He's going to load it up with 9 clans and 6 supplies and head out here. I am doing 10-5, but maybe 9-6 is better. I don't know, right? But that's it. Such a probe has only a cargo space of 15. So remember that. This is the weakest probe of all probes, in my opinion. But it suits the gameplay quite well, and this is good enough. Also, it has just enough fuel to do exactly 1 hyper jump. And then you need to refuel to do another one, because each hyper jump burns 50 fuel, and you have only 80, so after each jump you need to refuel. A Falcon has what, like 150 kilotons? It can perform 3 jumps in a row, and the PL-21 probe of the Evil Empire even has 180 kilotons, but not as much cargo. So the best, you know, hyperspace ship is the Falcon, but this B200 is already good enough, right? Also here, taking some uranium from his home planet and flying it over to here. We already have 200 here. We get the 80, it's 280. We get like 269, 280 plus, let's say 270, like 550 or so, right? Plus what he is digging out on this planet is 88%. So as you can see, he's really dedicated to get that Merlin fast. Also this probe, jumping from his homeworld, but that's fine because he's not going to be seen into the middle cluster. And yeah, I approve. Let's see. Did he find some natives? Yes. Awesome. Avians. The government isn't that important. I mean, yeah, it is important, but not that much. He's going to overtax anyway. He's going to get enough to get the minerals out. So from this planet, focus is not on getting money. That would be nice too, but here the Ollie and 65 degrees is great. How much is the drop? 500, 100. So he wants to develop this pretty fast. I'm eager to see. I think he will now here at least build the 100 factories first, and then he will focus on the mineral mines. We will have a look. A morph, yeah, you can just ignore and don't colonize. And he's now going into this cluster. Pretty sure that you could encounter someone here, or the next neighbor is at this planet. We will see. Okay, I think we cycled through all the ships. Yes, we did. So let's have a look at the planets. Again, starving out here, but here he is getting still a lot of mega credits, as you can see. and he is now at, 3,893 colonists. Pretty good. This one is just slowly developing. This one as well. And he built now factories here first. He's going to naturally slowly build these planets, turn them up into Borg worlds. And also here, humanoid anarchy, as I predicted, just going straight down for that -40. You don't care. And then he's going to, do the taxing so that it stays at 40% happiness. And then in the last turn, he will go for max. Still not producing any ship. This is because of the priority point thing and probably, Firecloud class cruiser with Star Drive 1. This is very interesting. He's building this crappy ship because he doesn't have the money. He can't support anything else. A Firecloud class cruiser with Star Drive 1 has this ship doesn't even have beam weapons. Look, he's even neglecting the beam weapons. I'm a bit surprised to see that, because why don't you just build some X-rays on it? I am honestly not sure. On the other hand, let us think this through. Oh, I think I know why he's doing that. He's going to look weak on the scoreboard because of no beam weapons and torpedo tubes. This ship will look like a freighter next turn. It can still initiate the channel because you don't need beam weapons or anything for that. But this ship will show up on the scoreboard as a freighter. I think that's it. And also because he doesn't have money, but you could build the beams and let's do that. Look, this is 292. He can afford beam weapons. And these, they only cost, he could afford it. He's not doing that. Very, very nice. So also interesting move. So I hope I remember that in turn 8, we're going to see how that will look like. Now I canceled the build, but in turn 8, we are now looking at the scoreboard to see that he has a freighter built. So turn 8. Again, bit of overlays. Forward, Cyborg, where are you? There. And as you can see, no beam weapons, no torpedo tubes. It looks like as if this guy built a freighter, which he didn't. He built a Firecloud, and this will be a stationary one, and he can still get the ships channeled back and forth from here. All right. So these two ships dropped everything on the planet. They are going to head home, I guess. Why is this ship standing still here? I am not sure. This large deep space freighter should be heading back. What about this one? The medium is heading back. And we have a Merlin in play, right? So barely calculated it. And look at this, we are at turn 8. I mean, this is ridiculously fast. I have never seen that. Second base plus Merlin in turn 8 in build? Really? Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so he's going to fly this medium back. The large deep space freighter will stand still. Don't know why. Let's have a look. He is going to fly this Firecloud to this planet and then kind of set a waypoint to there. Whatever that means, we're going to see. This looks very, very strange, but fine. We'll see. What did he find? Another rock. Also, yeah, okay. So these are the avians. And before I conclude anything, 100 supplies, and then next turn I'm pretty sure we're going to see one factory. Okay, he's going to fly over to here, and from here let's try to predict where he would go. Would you go into this cluster, or would you fly maybe, back? I'm not sure how I would play it out. No, I mean, this is not a Firecloud. You also want to colonize this. Would you fly in this direction into this cluster and expose yourself? I don't think so, but we're going to see. So very eager to see what he's going to do with this Firecloud, with this large deep space fighter here. And there we have it. He encountered the Birdman, right? Is he going aggressive? No. He has also set primary enemy to privateers. Interesting. There's an Iron Storm forming, but it's class 1, so for now that's fine. He's not beaming down anything. Diplomacy-wise, there's also nothing set, so maybe, you know, starting negotiations, and he's going a detour into this direction. So it could be that his neighbor is here, and that he, with the Swift-Heart class scout, is flying down into this direction. We're going to see. Okay, so I understand now the coloring. Red means always there are natives, which he finds. And okay, this is now interesting. He dropped all supplies, which I can understand, but also all clans. Why didn't he? He's not flying over because he has a warp of 0 set, but he still set the waypoint. This is probably to remind him next turn you want to fly there. This is kind of sending himself a message. I'm going to fly to the next planet. Yeah. So he's not flying, but he set the waypoint. So next turn, you know, you will have 18 clans on this planet because the 9 will assimilate directly in the one turn. And then he's going to pick them up and then continue this road down. And once he's here or here, he's going to perform another hyper jump onto another planet. Okay. Oh, great. He found himself bovinoids. Awesome. Right. So we remember he has flown to here. 1, 2, and then he reached this planet, and now he is getting his or planning his journey back, and he will just drop 1 clan. Interesting. Why not drop 10, 50, whatever? Bit surprised by that, but fine. So he wants to slowly assimilate this planet. I guess the reason for that is, again, to get more supplies out, because the longer you prolong, the more supplies you will get each turn from the bovinoids. Probably that's what he's thinking. Okay, here now dropping 1 clan. You need the 1 clan to get the beam up fuel. And again, the warp speed is not set, so he will not move. Okay. Bit surprised by that, but let's see. And we cycled through all ships. Turn 8, and let's have a look. What is he going to build? I mean, let's have a look at the planet. This guy is now broke, right? I think it can be only a probe or a medium deep space fighter. No, another Firecloud class cruiser Star Drive 1. Okay. Never seen that. Very interesting. So again, will show up as a fighter. He will probably use that Firecloud in overriding mode. The distance is luckily very short. Needs to fly a lot here, and he's most probably get the money back now home so that he can develop his planet, I guess. Okay, let's quickly cycle through ships, planets. Sorry, and yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at turn 9. Turn 9. Another rock. Yes. And what I don't quite understand is he is kind of just flying back. Drop 1 clan, I guess, yeah. And he's not developing any planets except for 1, like the initial one. The others have just 1 clan. And I also don't understand why he's kind of flying back. Because a Firecloud like this doesn't need to fly back. You open a channel and then reinforce and then you continue your journey, right? But again, we are not the best of the best. These guys are doing that for a reason, so we're going to see. Okay, also, I didn't quite understand why he didn't directly jump last turn. Because he dropped the clan. There were enough fuel on that planet. He had like beam up fuel set with hyperspace. He could jump. He didn't do it, but he's jumping this turn. Okay. Right. Also very interesting move. Now I understand why he left the large deep space fighter there. He wants to tow the Merlin back to his home world. And the reason is, doesn't have much supplies here, but okay, be it. Towing that one back with 0 fuel even, and the alchemy will still continue to do that. He is going to get some uranium then back. Okay. Really a bit strange. I'm a bit surprised by this. Now he's going to send a medium down. This Firecloud will stay stationary. No, he is going to fly out there. Just giving himself marking. So let's see what the other Firecloud did. Yeah, the other Firecloud will just fly back with a lot of money. 2,600 by turn 9. But as you can see, he has like 2 ships here, the Fireclouds. Rest are probes, and that's why a cyborg is in the early very weak. Okay, just going to fly that back. And he found himself another native planet. He dropped everything but 100 clans. And he's going to use those 100 clans to provide them, distribute them equally here and there. And then fly over, get more supplies. And eager to see if he built 100 factories as I predicted. No. Again, shielding planet. Defense 20. Planet is shielded. No sensor sweeping. But like 33 factories. And it's a little bit of defense. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Also here, avians. There he will drop something. 150. Fine. Do we still see diplomacy, something going on? No, but most probably in the messages he will certainly have contacted him, and he's going to fly this direction. All right. Let's see how this turns out. And last turn, you remember, he dropped everything, and the simulation is going on. 7 mega credits he will yield. He will probably build 2 factories, save the one, and then 1 turn later, the 2 plus 1 he will then double. And now he's going to take this stuff, 12 clans, 3 supplies, head over to here. Okay. So this gameplay is quite different on how I play it. I get a second base fast, then I get in parallel a lot of probes, as much as I can, and try to colonize like these planets, these ones, here in the middle, here and there. And from here, I also jump down, and then I also jump up into the corners. Because nothing is more annoying for the enemy to, at like turn 30, 40, try to colonize his backyard to see that there is a Borg infestation going on. This is something which Commander Koski took care of in his games, but that's what I normally do, because at one point of time, if you find a planet where you can build a base then, and then just produce such a crappy Firecloud, then suddenly you can, in your backyard, have like 20 biocides at some point which invade your area. And which is kind of cool, because that's like how the Borg are also in the lore. I love it. Right, so we have seen everything here. Let's have a look. And this time he has enough money, and next turn as well, because he's getting the money from this planet with this Firecloud. Now he's going to produce again normal Fireclouds. Okay, but still at Mark 4, turn 9. Let's have a look. Star bases. And he's now started to build also probes from the second base as well. Great. Go aboard. Good. Rebel colonies, birds, and the robots have also a second base. Okay. Military wise, if now you get invaded by a privateer here, which can happen, you're done. If you don't get peace, you're just out of the game, period. That is something, this is just weakness, but you know, it's how it is. All right, so let's have a look at turn number 10. There we are. Turn number 10. We see the first Firecloud channel initiation. And it is from here to there, I guess. So this guy is opening 031, a channel to this ID. So in case you don't know how channel works, you need 2 Fireclouds. And I'm not sure, oh yeah, it is the ship which opens the channel, which needs 50 kilotons of fuel. So that's why you see a burn of 50 kilotons. Then you need to set the ID of the target Firecloud to where you want to channel from. So any ship here is going to be transported next turn to here. And regardless the amount, so if I have like 5,000 ships here, all would be channeled to here with 0 fuel. The only one you need is the 50 kilotons of fuel here. And I'm not sure, I think you also need 50 kilotons on the target. I'm not sure, but what is definitely true is, no, you don't need it, obviously. You need to set warp 0. You can set a waypoint, but you have to be at warp 0. If the ship is moving, so if I say, let's say warp 7, the channel instantly vanishes. So set it at the target to warp 0 and also at this one, because if this moves, same thing, doesn't work. So both ships have to have their warp set to 0, and then you need 50 kilotons of the one opening the channel. Beware, once you have done the channel, change the friendly code. Because if you don't do it, what happens is the other ships, they're flying around, you know, both ships performing missions, and suddenly, random accident, you set both to warp 0, then this ship with this ID will channel to the other ship again. So don't fall into this trap, and I swear, this has happened to every board player once in one game, right? Just telling you already. And this medium is not going to follow. And it's interesting because this Star Drive 1 is just kind of transporting some clans and supplies here. This area. Okay. Bit strange. I'm not fully understanding this, but okay. He dropped here 133 clans on this planet. And instead of flying over to here, he's just going to collect minerals and try to supply the second base with some minerals from these planets here with the molly so that he can start building more probes. All right, we have a VCR. What? Okay. The Pale Destroyer attacked Annhiliation. Annhiliation? I think that's a privateer. Yes. Uh-oh. Not good. So, he found a birdman and a privateer. Ooh, very interesting. So the question is, yeah, here it says birdman Bodkin. So maybe he scanned this planet. So let's have a look. Reports. Sensor sweep. Yes. And in order, so he knows this guy is the birdman, and then next to him is a privateer somewhere, right? Because there's no other way that he encounters a privateer planet here. Yeah. Okay. And from the sensor sweep, he wants this not to show up on the enemy scanners for his core planets, at least not within the first 10 turns, to give his position early away. And he wants to prevent this. You can prevent this by the 20 defense posts. Right, then, oh, we have a massive meteor impact, unfortunately not at his place. And yeah, besides that, turn 10, let's have a look. Oh, go. Again, using this medium just to fly back the money. And yeah, as I predicted, he has now reached a 40% happiness. And what he can actually now do, look at this. You have more colonists than natives. And this is a mistake by him, by the way. He can set now the mega credits to this and get it, and still there will be no destruction because assimilation happens first. Yeah, so always remember in the last turn you can assimilate everyone. Okay, good. So let's cycle through the ships. So I think, sorry, we did that already. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Okay, I was just surprised by the VCR there. Okay, so what else do we have? Oh, Gyp Soldier Representative. This is a very nice planet, same thing. He's dropping everything, waiting a turn, and then he's going to fly over to here. Same thing here, Reptilian's Monarchy and 6/6, using those two clans, 1/1 to supply, fly back, get more supplies, and then maybe jump out or colonize these planets and so on. Good. And now he's flying first time into his backyard. And here he will use the overdrive on the star drive 1 to fly over to these planets. Or from here, he could also jump to this planet. We are going to see that. I'm pretty sure he's going to jump to over here. Right? Again, large deep space fighter now just moving around a little bit and will collect some mineral supplies from here or the clans. This could be it. So what he's at least doing is he's flying this ship to the channel and he's going to channel here as well. So let's see who else will join him. No one, but he has like 800 supplies and he's going to use that to build up that uranium. Again, now getting his boost with -30 mega credits and the base. Okay, not building anything this turn. I'm very confused, but yeah, this is a priority thingy, I guess. Right? Yeah. Right? So let's have a look. But he's producing from the second base, I guess. Yeah, there's a. All right, so turn 11. We have now reached 1 hour, but I'm going to try to go to turn 15 and then take a break. So then for part 2, time machine turn 11. There we go. All right. And we can already see it by this greenish color. He got into an agreement with the Birdman to say, look, dude, let's work together. And, you know, because he saw also these privateer planets, he knows this guy would be most probably willing to get into an agreement. And yeah, this is what he got. So let's have a look at the diplomacy, and they have said share intel, right? So found himself a nice neighbor. He's still clueless on who this guy is, and actually this can be anyone. The reason for that is because all these planets are connected, and if this is the case, you just fly your ship within these clusters while it's not showing it. It could be a cloaker. It could be, a fighter race, but you don't know. That's the issue. Okay. Good. So let's see. What do we have here? He channeled the stuff in. This is going to fly, continue his journey, this direction, I guess. Look at this, as I predicted, a Swift Heart class scout went into this cluster and then somewhat entered this one. Yeah, fine. And he is now able to tow this Firecloud. Oh, I see what he's doing. This crappy Firecloud, which appears to be a fighter, further down to the middle. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, got some clans there. Nice. He found himself, oh, an insectoid representative. Awesome. Lots of money. And he's not jumping, I guess, because he doesn't have enough fuel, correct? But he's maybe next turn going to jump there as well and provide another 15 clans and get more and more money out there. Could be. Let's see. Okay. Here he is now going to develop slowly, very slowly, his backyard planets a little bit. Get mines out, I guess. This one is going to be used to get money. And this guy has set primary enemy private here, but isn't doing much at all. Okay. This large deep space fighter is heading this planet, but not transporting anything. Maybe it's the fuel, we'll see. And I think might be preparing a second base here, because interestingly, he's getting the minerals. And this is also one thing. You have like 290 cargo space on a Firecloud, which is quite nice. It's not bad. And he's going to transport it to this planet. And as you can see, there's enough uranium with the one he transports, plus the one on the surface and in the planet. There's enough tritanium naturally, and also enough moly with nice density. So this could be the third base, which is a long-term preparation, which is maybe thinking of. Again, dropping everything, waiting for an assimilation one turn, and then maybe next turn this ship will jump over to here, and this one is maybe going to jump over to there. We're going to see. And now he's just going to, he set a border probably around here, I guess, right? And we'll tell them, look, I'm going to take from this amorph planet, I'm going to fly here into this backyard. And also he is starting, you see, yeah, building up more torpedoes, privateer set, right? Okay, so here, a simulation going on, supplies, and he took just one clan, and he's just going to explore this planet here. Overdrive, again, look, warp 9 is set, right? This is a warp 7 ship. Still, he can reach the planet and not completely run out of fuel, which is good. And there's enough fuel from here that when he flies with override back, he can perform another jump maybe to here or somewhere else. Okay, found himself a rock. Just going to colonize this one. And that's it. So, star bases. Oh, the first Annihiliation class is being built. Okay. He saved last turn to get a Tech 10 ship out. And you might wonder why he's doing that. At this time, turn 11, this ship beats all other ships in the game. And you can't expect the enemy to fly over with a Tech 10 ship with lots of fighters, right? And every Mark 7, let's say Resolute or whatever, would be eaten alive by this ship. So this is a very early defensive ship actually. Because of the Fireclouds, you can kind of be almost anywhere. I think it had plasmas and Mark 4. Let's take, I don't know, a Resolute. Resolute is a pretty good ship. Let's give him, I don't know, Blaster Mark 7. Photon torpedoes. Run the simulation. Look what happened. Do you see that? You don't even get any damage. It's just shield scratched, right? And this ship is a powerhouse. And even, now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a Victorious class cruiser. Same configuration. Let's give it even the Klingons with double beams. Now look what happened. It still kills off this ship. You see that? And this is the reason why such an early Annihilation is a very good defense. However, if that gets stolen by the privateer, oh my god, you're doomed. Okay. Good. Again, not a second probe here. And scoreboard wise, let's have a look. Yeah, accruing all these priority points bit by bit. And these ones are even, you know, in a different league by accruing the priority points. This guy as well, the missing colony. All right. So I think we cycled the ships. Did we? Yes, we did. All right. Turn 12. And you see already that I need more time to analyze a cyborg game because you have much more options, right? And this is also very important also to see this guy's playstyle is also very different. Yeah. So here he says definitely second neighbor, whatever. And then here he said almost a star base. So probably there's enough minerals on this planet. Yeah, almost a star base. Yeah. Okay. So amphibian representative. And here he also made a comment. Target here for starbase. See? This is because he knows, look at this. Gigantic tritanium source, plus also uranium. And yeah, enough for base, but the density is extremely good. And he will get enough stuff out of here, so he needs to send a Firecloud soon to that planet. Okay. Drop one clan is going to head back to this planet, so let's have a look at here. So as you can see, slow build up, but slowly but surely these will get assimilated. I don't know, 10-15 turns. There's a ratio for that. We'll see. Again, using overdrive. Okay, he's first of all going to channel in more stuff. So this Firecloud is going to channel here and then probably fly over to there. Yeah. It's exactly like that because you want this planet here to be secure, definitely. And then build up your Firecloud roots there. This one just heading back. And as I said, they probably have a border around here, so that's why this ship is leaving. Maybe he even told him, look, there are natives here, drop it, which he will then do. Again, flying home the uranium, so he's now using the starbase just to generate priority points and just harvest everything. This is also nice because sometimes you can't sustain the minerals on one starbase all the time and continuously build ships. That's what I am doing normally, but then I run out of fuel, I run out of mega credits, whatever. And this way it's still useful because it built you a Merlin, it built you 2 or 3 probes, and then that's it. And then it is getting priority points for free, so why not? So he's sending the stuff home. He is now, as I said last turn, just taking some supplies with him to develop this planet very fast. And here has the Annihilation privateers, and he is now going to use that to get some money back home. This is producing now some moly because you're now running low on moly. But he doesn't have a nice moly source, does he? Oh yes, he does. It's here. Yeah, 68%. And yeah, all right. Let's get rid of that marking as well. Oops, sorry. It is also nice. Here you can see natives, right? This way you already know, but these are a morph, right? That's why they show up in yellow. but you can also see your colonists. And as you can see, the assimilation is going very well, right? All right. Good. So again, let's cycle through the ships. Again, using this Firecloud, this Firecloud freighter to transport money. And as you can see, he also started taxing his own colonists, and he will tax them down to 40% and then leave it there. Look at this. This planet has 358 factories. Look at that. He could even upgrade more mines and get more molly, right? He can sustain up to 456. And this is how late game Borg planets look. And every normal race can build like around 100, 110 defense posts. But a Borg can build a freaking 300. Yeah, and can I simulate that just quickly? Yes, I think I can. Look how this looks, man. No starbase, 10 heavy phasers, 17 fighter base, 18 fighters, right? And if you simulate this now, again, let's take a Resolute. So, battle simulation, Resolute. Where's the Resolute? Resolute blasters. No, come on, heavy blasters. Mark 7 photon torpedoes. We are going to fight against a planet with 300 defense. Yeah, probably the Resolute will win, but I think it will get damaged. Yeah, and it's really hardcore there. Look at this. Oh my god. Yeah, and this is just one cyborg planet, and that's it. And then you have a crippled ship here, right? And if you take anything else, like, I don't know, take an Arkham. Maybe an Arkham is also pretty good. So let's simulate that. But you know, most ships will have a hard time, like the privateers. Okay, he's fighting the privateers. Let's take a meteor, and I don't care. Let's give the meteor like heavy phasers Mark 8. Yeah, and then if you run this, regardless how many times you simulate this ship, he can't kill those cyborg planets. And again, let's take Mega. Eager to see what I think Kitty Hawk will perform quite well. Yeah, because of its own fighters. Still will get damaged, but it will take over the planet. Yep. But basically it lost all fighters and is crippled, right? And let's also take, I don't know, as I said, the Arkham class cruiser. Oh, Arkham is not what I wanted. What's that ship called, which has 6 beam weapons and 6 torpedo tubes? You already know it, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's take, I don't know, a Bloodfang. This is the largest ship at the disposal of the privateers. So that guy can beat that planet. Yeah, so that's the only ship, but he lost like 43 fighters during that turn. So anyway, what my point is that at some point of time, all these Borg planets will be powerhouses as well, right? And then you put a starbase on top, and that's an excellent defense. Okay, just transporting stuff back and forth. As I said, this one is opening a channel so that he can reach not only this cluster but fly to here. And we have turn 12 and still no sign of this guy. Pretty eager to see who that is. And yeah, also a morph. Yeah, I think it's the second morph. No, it's still the same morph planet. Just flying back a little bit. Always privateer set. And yeah, he didn't jump onto this planet, but is now overdriving the Star Drive 1, 6 clans, 1 supply, and you know, try to get these planets colonized and maybe get a census sweep reading. Yeah, he is like then in range next turn, and then to see if he can catch something, and then finally find out who his southern neighbor is. Again, you sometimes wait a turn here. He dropped 1 clan that will double, and then he either flies back or he is going to jump out somewhere. Let's see. All right, same thing here, not moving, but he's indicating where he wants to head to next turn. Yeah, and that's it. Let's look at the star bases. So again, fighter, but can channel. And also, if this ship gets captured by the privateers, he can't use it to rob because it has no beam weapons. And yeah, I mean, you can't lay mines. So this is then just a ship where you secure that you only use it for channeling. I think that's also the background, and then you also save some money, right? Okay. Good. So another quick cycle through the planets. As I said, 926, minus 30. Yeah. Again, reptilians. And as you can see, accruing large amounts of money here. Insectoids. And now look at this. This is going to be good. Like with minus 10. Yeah. Reptilians. And I think these bovinoids. Yeah. Also not bad, because the planet here with the temperature limits the amount of colonists converted, assimilated, right? Reptilians, yeah, but they take time to build up. So in these stages, these planets are very vulnerable and you can kill them off. But at a later stage, you can't do that anymore that easily. Okay. But we are getting there. And also let's have a look at the tech levels. It's 10, 10 to 5. And at some points you will see biocides popping up. Okay, we are now at 1 hour and 20 minutes. So anyway, let's go for turn. Time machine turn 30. There we go. Again, goodbye readings. Here are 4 factories built. Is now taking up again, this time 9 molly. What is this? Okay, you are trying to send some molly down, but I don't think that this will make any difference. But he says to himself, when I'm going to fly supplies over, why also not take the molly, because I want to have a base here in the middle of nowhere, because the densities are so great. And maybe this is also racing. You need to build the base as long as the natives are still there, because then you get the tech levels for free and then save up to or gain an advantage of 4,500 mega credits. And if you don't do that, you know, you lose that opportunity and also lose those tech levels, right? So that's why he's saying, okay, let's fly everything what I have to there. Again, this ship is not moving. Very, very strange. Going to move into this direction with the warp 9 Firecloud. Still moving. Again, 2000 mega credits, and in the meantime produced here with the minus 30, getting the supplies and trying to convert those into molly. Also here, same thing. He loaded it up with clans, a little bit of uranium, and I think he's going to use it at this planet and then get a third base, as I said. Yeah. I'm not sure he's still doing that, setting these waypoints like with warp 0. It's very, very strange to watch. This ship is being towed by the large deep space freighter, fine. And still using this annihilation for now to transport money back and forth. Okay. And flying back, let's have a look at this insectoid. Yeah. Getting up and he found himself a rock here. And there is no fuel left. So, he dropped one supply, one clan, and now he's basically dropped dead on this planet, right? Otherwise, he would need to show himself. Let's see what he's going to do with that probe next turn. And that's it. Star bases, what are you producing? again, Firecloud class cruiser Mark IV. I think that's still okay. It just feels different because if I would have played this cyborg, I would have like had these 10 planets, maybe some of those, and that's it. But he's already so much spread out. This is definitely something I need to do. And again, here not producing anything. Okay. So scoreboard, let's have a look. And the privateer, these are probably 12 meteors playing out of one large deep space freighter. Very, very scary. And he's very lucky that he doesn't have this guy as a direct neighbor. Okay. Look at this robot's 4 star bases, but he's producing from all 4. Probably Q tankers, who knows. And missing colonies of man. Okay. Time machine turn 14. I'm very impressed. This situation already feels like we are like 10 turns more ahead in the future, but we are not. We are at turn 14. Right. So what do we have? We have a combat recording. That's good. That's just Birdman against the privateers. And the Birdman is now getting traction. Here, never do this. I told this so many times, so if you've watched my videos, you already know. Never show like waypoints. Don't do it. You already know there are privateers here on it. Yeah, but he already knows. And he has already a Darkwing. Look at this. Very nice. Cool. And this is like turn 14. I love this. Iron Storm. There's a second Darkwing already built. A Resolute. 2 Enlightened class. Right? Is this campaign? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Okay, so he provided the molly, just flying back. So as you can see, he's using this triangle here. That's fine. And just going to distract the enemy by showing strange readings that if there's a cloaked ship, I think it will read this waypoint next turn. He's just doing that to distract people. Now he's going to move this ship. Right? It just took off some clans from here, I guess. And going to provide it to here. Right? To develop that planet. Yep. And he's going to leave this Firecloud stationary at this bovinoid. Right? Again, just moving stuff back and forth here. That's fine. Oh, another humanoid representative planet. That one is cool. But it is pretty near to this cluster. Oh, we have the first readings. We have the Evil Empire. All right. Scoreboard. Where's the Evil Empire? There it is. Yeah, okay. This guy is no threat at all. And you know why? This is the reason. 8 freighters, 2 warships. Forget about him. That's fine. This is an easy target. As an Evil Empire, also one of the weaker races at the moment. He can now fend off every superstar destroyer or anything that the Evil Empire can throw at you. Right? With the 1 Annihilation here. Right? Good. I mean, still impressive. Turn 14, he has a Merlin and an Annihilation class, right? I mean, pretty good. Again, getting some mega credits back home. Let's cycle through the ships quickly. Not much to be seen. Still using that molly being converted, right? Because he is like on the edge of the molly. And yeah, and now he says, okay, I saw this is the Evil Empire. Now I don't care. I also have the Annihilation as a kind of a backup. And I'm now going to fly and colonize these 5 planets, this cluster here. Okay. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to have a 3rd starbase here next turn. Let's see, still transporting that Firecloud with him. And yeah, what is going on here. Still building some torpedoes whilst he's here. This region, he wants to defend this planet a little bit, I guess. Okay. He probably dropped this planet. No, he didn't. Interesting. And he is heading for these planets here. So another privateer. He has no primary enemy set here, which wonders me a little bit because this can be captured by the privateer. Probably an error. Let's see. Okay. And this ship, as I said, is not moving. He doesn't want to show himself and he can't jump back. So this is dead at the moment. And that one supply he has with him, since he has no mega credits, he can't do anything. That's the drawback of having just Star Drive 1. If you would have Star Drive 6 or whatever, it's easier to overdrive and then, you know, reach other planets. But, okay. Good. Everything is seen. What is he building? Now a large deep space freighter. At some point of time, you can also consider as Cyborg to build super transport freighters, but that's not there yet. You can build them even with, you know, warp 1 or warp 6, whatever, because you are using the channel anyway. And still producing a probe here. Okay, finally turn 15, and then we're going to take a cut and a break. And maybe we are even going to take 3 turns, like 3-hour-long videos, or 1.5 hours now, to go through a Cyborg game. They are very, very intense because you have lots and lots of possibilities. So let's start here. And now, since he knows his neighbor, he had enough, and he can also show his ship. And he's now going to more aggressively colonize everything around him. Yeah, just dropping some, you know, one clan here and there, and then flying onto this planet. There we go. This guy maybe for next turn is indicating whatever. I don't know. He dropped some clans here. 351 supply and uranium, whatever. Okay, just flying back. The Molly planet. Colonizing one clan. You know, all these planets which are rocks, you basically ignore unless they have like really good minerals which you need, then you develop them. And these are not the target yet. Okay, just still supplying this planet with more and more supplies. Again. And now this large deep space freighter is going to fly this ship back because he has in the meantime gotten some supplies on this planet. And instead of flying the large deep space freighter out, he is towing the Merlin to that position. Okay. And that's it. And as predicted, there's the third base. Because you have enough minerals there, Molly, right? He also took some Molly off, and he will use it here on the reptilian planet. Already preparing to build a force base there as well, because you have the mega credits. So even if these bases can't produce something very useful, even a small probe is a ship, or you get the priority point. He is now also setting up some defenses. We have another visual combat recording here, a privateer. X-rays. Oh, this is dangerous. Because let's go on the result. No, it's not. Okay. Yeah, I forgot the 3 times double beam crew kill capability. And we have Fearless, we have the Resolute, Darkwing, and they're going to fly to here hopefully and try to kill off the starbase. Okay. So, starbase again, Firecloud, whatever. Let's have a look at these Borg planets. Again, we do that just from time to time. Things are different now. You see 10-10-2-5, he still stays at the Torpedo Tech 5. I would have maybe upgraded to Torpedo Tech 7 already, but fine. He has now enough mega credits. That's great. Again, supplies, awesome. And you have a lot of planets management actually as a Borg, right? Here, for example, he went for maximum, almost maximum mines. He's trying desperately to get these figures up. And reptilians, yeah, fine. Here is a small mistake. He has like no supplies at all on the planet, which is bad because even with one supply, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, you know, 128, 256, and then 512, within 10, 12 turns, you have always maximum amount of factories. Always carry at least one supply with you and drop those on those planets. Yeah, just getting these developed. Sorry. One is also important. Yeah, upgrading the supplies. But the temperature is really bad. Just bad. Okay. That being said, thanks for watching. So this is part 1, probably part 1 of 3. Cyborg games in general, very intense. If you play them, you not only play the usual how do I get minerals and money from A to B, but you also do individual planets management where you tax, where you overtax, where you watch, do I prefer this and that and so on. What I like already about this guy is he's playing pretty safe. He's not exposing himself, or when he exposes himself, there's a high percentage where he thinks, might I be in sensor sweep range? Yes, no. And then he says no. And then, you know, he flies out. On planets where he thinks, well, they would show up on sensor sweep if I now build factories, if I now build mines, blah, blah, blah. He goes for 20 defense posts and shields them. Also, remember how he kind of avoided being seen by this guy. Totally avoided it. The only one where this guy could have spotted him was this cluster here, not cluster, but these 3 planets. But since there's such a nice cluster, for this guy, there's no reason to show himself. And I also understand why the evil empire went for the H fighter build, because the reason is he can tell himself, you know what, my Gorbis cost a lot. I can afford to go large deep space fighters because there's a small space I need to defend. And I have like lots of planets in there. So my routes are short, and the more fighters I can move more stuff from A to B, right? So thanks a lot for watching, and very, very eager really to see what the Pale Destroyer is going to do and how he's going to continue from this game and how this proceeds. What I also like is, which I didn't mention, is the early starbase for priority point building, but also in between always building a probe, but getting that fast Merlin. Really, I loved it. And something new I haven't discovered yet was that you kind of disguise some of your Fireclouds as fighters. Awesome. I love that, right? Okay. Thanks a lot, and see you soon with part 2.